What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Waste World Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Gage Edwards. Waste World Podcast, the podcast from waste360.com. If you didn't know, glad you're here. Glad to be with you during this holiday break that we're all on. I recorded this in between Christmas and New Year's, and it should come out a couple days before the year ends to go over what we're going over today, wrapping up 2025. That is why we're here. We're going to break down some of the biggest stories, trends, the haps from the recycling, waste, organic, sustainability industries today. 2025, yeah, safe to say a active, challenging at times, consequential year in our industry. A lot of happenings with policy shifts. We got a lot of uncertainty through some tariff talk, how that was ever changing. And we've had some people on the show and at waste360.com to talk about that. Market pressure, innovation, investments. M&A was big this year. EPR came on board. So we're seeing a lot of that too. You know, some real wake-up calls around safety and infrastructure. No shortage of moments that kind of defined 2025. And I think when we look back on this year, we're going to remember this year as being a pretty pivotal one for a lot of different reasons. And hopefully the top 10 stories we have here today kind of go over that. Big year for me, Waste 360. As you can see, the podcast is running well, doing well. The podcast is growing all the time, so I appreciate all the supports from everybody who's listening each week. Hopefully this week you're not like, oh God, we got to listen to Gage for 20, 30 minutes, however long this goes. But you want to hear what the top stories were. Sorry you have to go through it this way. Bear with us. Bear with me today as we're going to go through these stories together. For me, you know, big successful Waste Expo this year. Other events, spent time at Compost 2025, which was a great time. The National Plastics Conference, which was an excellent time as well. Met a lot of great people at both of those. The inaugural RCon, which we were at a couple months ago. Great time as well. You know, through those events, having multiple conversations with, you know, industry leaders, operators, innovators, policymakers, you name it. It was a very insightful year for me. I learned a lot, met a lot of cool people, heard a lot of cool stories, brought them back to this podcast, as you've heard. A lot going on for me personally. It was a year of incredible opportunities, and hopefully I did the website justice for all of you readers and listeners out there by covering these stories firsthand and trying to ask tough questions and help bring clarity to a fast-changing landscape. So thanks for sticking it out. Thanks for being here for the whole time. And 2026, I know, is going to be a lot of good up and ups for us and a lot going on. And I'm going to be particularly busy, but we're churning through. It's going to be a pretty good year. Anyway, we're not looking at 2026 yet. We are here to step back and reflect on the top stories of 2025, counting down the top 10 most impactful, most viewed, you know, just the top stories of the year. The articles that sparked big conversations, revealed hard truths, highlighted progress. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. These stories, you know, we're talking everything: fire safety, recycling economics, policy battles, composting laws, M&A, and people pushing the industry forward. You know, people out there doing good stuff. Award winners specifically, which we will get to in a minute. So whether you read all of them or missed a few along the way, this episode is your chance to kind of revisit the moments that defined the year from waste360.com and understand why they mattered. So without further ado, I'm going to take a look to my right to make sure I'm still recording. Sure am. Let's get into it. The top 10 stories from waste360.com of 2025. And if you're listening, great. If you're watching on YouTube, I haven't edited this yet because I'm recording this. There will probably be a visual to the episode that will just kind of show the story on the website. And if you're interested in more, I'm not reading out the entire articles to you here. Go to waste360.com, find the articles. They will be linked under this post for the podcast on waste360.com. So if you can get to the podcast on there, you can get to these stories. So do that. Extra work for me, extra convenience for you. Our top 10 story of the year, 2025, titled, Why Your Relationship with Your Local Fire Department is Critical. This comes to us from Ryan Fogelman. And we're starting the list with a topic that remains one of the most serious and ongoing challenges, fires. Constantly are we seeing news stories about fires, fire safety, battery recycling, proper battery recycling, recycling safety, and it kind of comes back to this. Ryan Fogelman's always been at the top. He's always been at the center of this coverage, and for us at Waste360, his articles do an incredible job communicating that to the rest of us. But in this particular article, Ryan dives into mid-year fire data and explains why relying solely on local fire departments is not enough for waste and recycling facilities. His article highlights June 2025 data, so right in the middle of the year again, showing that while incidents dipped slightly, the overall trend remained alarming, with 2025 pacing ahead of previous years. I don't know. I mean, listening at home, you should have read Ryan's articles. You would have seen how quickly we are pacing ahead of previous years this year with fires in facilities. Reported fires, as a matter of fact. There's also a great episode with Ryan on the Waste World podcast where he kind of dives into this stuff as well. I think we might have done the podcast about this article or right around this time. Maybe it was July. Anyway, check out that episode of the podcast. From the article, Ryan makes a critical point. Most firefighters are not trained or equipped to handle industrial scale waste and recycling fires, especially those involving lithium-ion batteries. And the article underscores the need for layered fire prevention strategies, proactive communication with first responders, and investments in on-site mitigation systems to protect people, facilities, and operations, because safety should be a number one priority. So check that out. That is the number 10 article from waste360.com. Number 9, titled, EDF sues Trump administration for failure to release information around potential rollbacks to state and federal clean vehicle policies. Now, I'm also, quick note for everyone at home, just reading these through as I've written them out here. So bear with me as I maybe pause and take a look to the right to make sure recording is still going, because I have it on a different screen at the moment. So if you hear any pauses or I'm just stalling for time. Anyway, this article comes to us from our contributor, Arlene. In this article, we see and continue to hear throughout the year that policy made major waves in 2025. And Arlene's article here captures one of the most significant legal and regulatory battle of the year. Reporting that the Environmental Defense Fund's lawsuit against the EPA seeking transparency around potential rollbacks of clean vehicle standards and California's emission waivers. The piece also outlines why these policies matter, how they impact emissions, public health, and recycling markets, and what's at stake or if they're weakened or eliminated. It's a reminder that decisions made far outside the waste industry can still have profound downstream effects on materials management, infrastructure investment, and sustainability goals. Check out this article, EDF sues Trump administration for failure to release information around potential rollbacks to states and federal clean vehicle policies. It's an important one. Moving on. I'm trying to make sure that this episode isn't crazy long. So some of these articles I'm going to spend a little more time on. Some of these articles I'm going to spout out and I'm going to give you homework to go see it yourself. Number 8. Another fire report from Ryan Fogelman. This one comes into us as the April fire report. Fires on the rise in Q1, time to sound the alarm. Remember, we just talked about the June 2025 fire report. This one came for us in April, where things are getting a little dicey. So here we are, fire safety, again on the list. This article details record-breaking fire data from the first quarter of 2025, including 104 reported incidents in just 3 months. Ryan goes on to explain how lithium-ion batteries continue to drive risk, why insurance markets are tightening, how operators are being forced to rethink fire preparedness as a core business issue. Again, this reinforces the recurring theme of 2025. Ignoring fire risk is no longer an option, and the cost of inaction keeps rising. If you were sitting at a facility and ignoring the risk of fire, what are you doing? It's been a big epidemic, really, and feels like in the industry. And seeing fire safety on here twice does not surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. It's important. It's an ongoing issue. Get it taken care of. Be prepared. Read up on it, waste360.com. Our number 7 article is a slideshow titled Trash and Returns to the Runway at Waste Expo 2025. Now, if you haven't been to Waste Expo or have missed the Trash and Runway show that is put on, the Trash and Show, it's an incredible time seeing upcycled pieces put together to make outfits, dresses, clothing, I already said outfits, really anything. Just they put on a fashion show made of upcycled materials is a really incredible thing and a very fun moment each year at Waste Expo. And it's nice to see it make this list this year. So the article kind of breaks down the most creative and talked about moments of Waste Expo at 2025. The Trash and Show lit up Waste Expo, showcasing designs made entirely from discarded materials. Beyond the spectacle, the events highlighted serious issues around textile waste, fast fashion, and the potential for reuse and upcycling. This is a slideshow, again, which you can go check out, which kind of captures the education, creativity, and engagement that can shift perceptions and why events like Trash have become a staple of Waste Expo each year. So make sure you check it out. Check out those pictures. They're really cool. I think I took some of these pictures that are in there too. So check them out for my sake as well. There you go. Moving on. Number 6. Our number 6 story of the year is titled GFL Environmental Incorporated finalizes $8 billion sale of its environmental services division. This is one of the biggest business stories we had during the year. And the article jumps into GFL's $8 billion divestment and what that signals for broader waste and recycling M&A landscape. The sale allowed GFL to significantly deleverage, strengthen its balance sheets, and refocus on core solid waste operations, a prime example of how financial strategy and operational focus are evolving across major players in the industry. So go up, read about that one there. I'm not a business guy, so I don't have much more to add to that. The numbers, they start to add up for me. Most of my life I'm looking for less math. This job will throw me some curveballs sometimes. So check out that article there. We're halfway through the list. We're halfway through. And so I'll take a moment to remind you to check out the Waste World podcast on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Everywhere podcasts are found, you can find us. So make sure you're checking us out there. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you review. Leave a comment. Rate us 5 stars. Share us with a friend. The support from each of our listeners keeps the show going. Keeps the mics and the lights on, as another one of my favorite podcasts will remind you. So it's good to see. So this podcast is looking at big things in 26, and we hope our audiences are engaged and out there and having a good time with the show and sharing it with a friend. Bring a buddy. Sit someone else down and say, you got to listen to this. Let's get back to the list. Number 5. This article is titled, Minnesota Introduces New Compost Laws and Programs. This is also by Arlene. So, in 2025, composting took a major step forward, and Minnesota was at the center of it. This article from Arlene explains explores new statewide organics policies, curbside collection requirements, composting labeling laws, and the infrastructure challenges that come with scaling composting programs. It also addresses contamination, education gaps, and the role of EPR in shaping the future of compostable packaging. So for anyone watching the growth of organics diversion, this article is a must read. This could be our new norm. Minnesota may be leading the way here, so check that one out. It is a big one. It's an important one. Moving on. Number 4. The number 4 story of the year is titled, DTSC issues final permit for Ecobat City of Industry Recycling Facility. This article highlights a major regulatory decision with national implications. The California Department of Toxic Substance Control renewed Ecobat's permit for its City of Industry lead battery recycling facility, reinforcing domestic recycling capacity and reducing reliance on overseas processing with weaker standards. It's been 15 minutes and I've already forgotten how to read. So what you want to check out from this story, it's ability to show us the importance of regulatory certainty, environmental justice, keeping critical materials within a secure domestic recycling system, which is pretty freaking important. I almost said a bad word, which I think we're rated as explicit on iTunes and Spotify, so it might not have been the worst thing. But anyway, this article, a lot of good details in this one, so make sure you go check this one out for yourself. I don't have everything here in front of me, just the cliff notes, because I have 10 stories to get through, and I'm not bringing you a 60-minute podcast on this. I guess 60 minutes wouldn't be the worst thing. How long is our longest podcast? Would you sit for 60 minutes? Let's move on before I lose the thread here. Number 3, we're down to our top 3. I wonder what's left. I mean, I already know. I wonder if there's a story at home that you're looking for. And I guess if there is a story that you think should have made the list, let us know in a comment. If there's a story that was most important to you or something that was most surprising or jarring in your world from the waste and recycling industry that was covered on waste360.com, let us know. I want to hear what your top moment of 2025 was. What was most important this year? I wonder what it is. Number 3 on our list is the 2025 Waste 360 Women Who Inspire announcement. One of the most celebrated features of the year at waste360.com, our annual recognition, highlighted the women across the waste, recycling, and organics industry who are driving innovation, mentorship, and meaningful change. This story reflects the depth of talents in the industry and the growing importance of leadership and diversity. It was a major highlight at Waste Expo 2025, a major highlight, obviously, on waste360.com, recognizing the 5 deserving women in our industry who are making a big difference. So you can check out that slideshow, check out the winners from this year. Also, while you're over there, maybe nominate somebody for the 2026 award, the 2026 Waste 360 Women Who Inspire Award. Those nominations are open now. So somebody in your life, if they're making a huge difference, they're eligible for the Women Who Inspire Award, nominate them. Throw their name in the hat, and who knows? They could be recognized as a leading figure in our industry. Number 2, the number 2 story of the year from waste360.com. Pennsylvania Waste Collection Company ends recycling pickup due to overwhelming costs. And this is a story that we're seeing a lot of a similar trend where costs are just driving away programs. So this one kind of highlights a local hauler's decision to suspend recycling services due to rising costs, which exposed the financial strain of facing small and mid-sized operators. It's happening to a lot of them out there. The article sparked broader conversations about recycling economics, municipal funding structures, and the sustainability of current models. It is a reality check and a warning sign for communities nationwide. Costs are going up. Small, mid-sized haulers are having trouble keeping up. There are outlets out there, there are ways, but it's getting expensive. So that's when it's going to come back to a lot of those policy conversations, a lot of those regulations. Hopefully those tariffs aren't eating into you. So it's getting tough. It's getting tough for a lot of us. Let's move on to a happier story to end the top 10. The top 10 stories on waste360.com. Our number 1 story of the year. Our top story was the 2025 Waste 360 40 Under 40 winners, topping our Waste 360 list. And this is a feature that everybody is waiting for. Of all the emails I get, people are always asking, when's the 40 Under 40 coming out? When can I check out who won? This is a popular one. People are always going back to the 40 Under 40 award winners. They keep going back. They keep reading their friends' names, their names, whatever it is. We check out this year. We check out previous years. The 40 Under 40 award is rightfully at the top here. So the 2025 40 Under 40 awards winners, they represent the next generation of leaders shaping the industry's future across hauling, recycling, composting, policy, innovation, you name it, in the waste and recycling industry. And this slideshow celebrates that talent from 2025. The ambition and impact they're having, reinforcing the importance of investing in people as much as infrastructure. These people are making a difference. These people are paving the way. And these people are young leaders in our industry who are, passing on knowledge to the next class of 40 Under 40 award winners. So we're starting a trend here. So congratulations again to the 40 Under 40 award winners for 2025. Remember, the 2026 nominations are now open for the 40 Under 40 award. Submit today. Nominations will close in a few weeks, if I have my timing right, in a few weeks. So submit somebody today for the 40 Under 40 award at waste360.com. You can find that through a couple clicks from this page. But there's a drop-down menu at waste360.com for the 40 Under 40 award area where you can see the nomination form there. So submit today. Don't delay. Maybe as a New Year's gift, be like, this person who has made a big impact on my life and they're under 40 years old, they deserve a nomination. Let's send them in. Okay, we are now closing out 2025. One thing is clear. The industry is evolving fast. I think when I have conversations on this show, when I have conversations at conferences, through email, through phone calls, Zoom calls, it's that this industry evolves so rapidly. It's hard to keep up. Which is why you need to pay attention to places like waste360.com, the Waste World Podcast. We're trying to cover it all. There's a lot going on. In the industry, the challenges are real. And you can see that through our top 10 here. Fires, costs, policy uncertainty, contamination. That is still prevalent in our industry, but so is momentum for change, positive change, innovation, collaboration, leadership. Those things showed up in a big way this year. And the stories we covered reflect both the pressure and the progress. So, as we head into 2026, the questions don't stop, and neither does the work. We'll be right there covering the stories that matter, asking the tough questions, figuring out what people are doing, highlighting those people, and shaping what comes next, figuring out the future of our industry one day at a time. And honestly, we're moving so rapidly, 1 hour at a time. It feels like hour to hour, things can be different. So, as we go into 2026, a big shout out to you, the listener. Thank you for listening to the Waste World Podcast. Thank you for being here this year. We launched this at the end of 2024, I believe. And we had a full year of podcasts, and we've seen a lot of cool stuff. We've talked to a lot of cool people. We dove into a lot of great topics and learned. We learned a ton. I learned a ton. Hopefully you at home learned a ton. Again, I'm getting to the point where I've talked for 23 straight minutes. My tongue is getting twisted. I'm out of Diet Coke, so I need a refresher. But hey, if you want to dive deeper into any of these stories, you can find them at waste360.com, of course. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. Thank you for riding along with us through 2025 into 2026 with some awesome content. Remember to like the episode, rate the show, share it with a friend, post this on LinkedIn if one of these stories connected with you. Like, here's a top story, here's a podcast going over it. Get to the story, have a conversation about what we've got going on. As always, it's our world. Let's not waste it. I'll see you in 2026. Thank you again for listening. Goodbye. Happy New Year.